Welcome back to Shop Talk. I'm Raquel Rodriguez. We're talking about leading at the speed of trust. Still with us is Lirio Ongpin-Mapa. She's Vice President at the Center for Leadership and Change. CLCI will host an executive forum with Stephen Covey, the author of The Speed of Trust. That event is happening on February 23rd at the Makati Shangri-La Hotel. Now, before the break, we discussed about the 5 waves of trust and the ripple effect from the beginning, the trust of oneself, down to the societal trust. Now, for those who are interested in ways to build trust, there is the concept of 13 behaviors.
Yes.
Tell us about the 13 behaviors.
Stephen M.R. Covey, this is the son of Dr. Covey, okay, who wrote the book, The Speed of Trust, listed 13 behaviors. In other words, if we want to build trust, especially relationship trust, because that's where you begin to build trust with others, you need to practice 13 behaviors.
Okay.
Okay. They are listed in a particular order. Now, starting with, you've got to talk straight, demonstrate respect, you've got to be able to be transparent.
Now, does it have
yes.
to go in a particular order?
You know, when they're listed, actually 5 of them have to do with character.
Oh, okay.
The other 5 have to do with competence, because it's character and competence put together that generates trust and credibility.
Okay, so
right?
let's talk about the first 5 then in the cluster of building character in order to build trust then.
All right. So to build character, yes, you've got to be able to talk straight, demonstrate respect, be transparent, okay? There's transparency. You also need to be able to right wrongs.
Okay.
Right wrongs, yeah.
What exactly is talking straight? For those who are not familiar with that particular
yes. You know, we in the Philippines, we say we like to beat around the bush, and this is because of our culture. It has to do with smooth interpersonal relationships. You know, we say pakikisama, so you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to rock the boat. So sometimes when we say you got to talk straight, you got to be straightforward. Okay. Don't beat around the bush. And you say that's hard for us, but you see. Talking straight does not, it simply means don't cloud the issue.
Okay.
Say it, but there are ways of saying it. There are ways of talking straight. And so you first have to demonstrate respect.
Right.
And demonstrating respect means being kind, caring, having care and concern for the other person you're talking to.
Right.
And when that is the attitude, that I want to care for this person, I'm going to give you feedback that is constructive, but it's going to help you because I care for you, then that you demonstrate respect, you're kind to the person, and you can then talk straight.
Okay, now the third point is looking at creating transparencies. And when I think of the word transparency, I think of the word see-through. What exactly does creating transparency mean in building trust?
Well, it means what you see is what you get. You know?
Okay.
I don't have hidden agenda.
Okay.
I don't talk to you in metaphors. It means I don't hide things. I don't hide things. So, especially, let's say, between husband and wife, do we know what our expenses? Are we on the level with each other? Do we tell each other the truth? Are we honest with one another? So it's really integrity also. No? It's based on integrity that I don't keep things. I'm not ashamed of saying something or doing something and hiding it.
Okay. And that definitely works then in the workplace
character,
as well, right?
It's character, yes,
right.
yes.
Now the next point is right wrongs. Is it as cut and dry as righting all the wrongs you've done?
Those that are very important to you and would have impact on your relationships, you really need to right wrongs. Right?
And how does that work in the business setting
actually.
then?
In the business setting. Well, I mentioned to you that if you know your product is not doing well, you pull it out of the market no matter how much it costs, right? One example probably which our viewers would identify is Oprah. I think you know, one time she had this guest and she was endorsing his book, but after the show, her attention was called that this author, what this author wrote about is not really
it was fictitious, right?
Fictitious instead of. So she did her own research, and when she found out that she was actually wrong in endorsing him, she corrected herself. She apologized. She called him back on the show.
Right.
and told him, why did you do this? Yeah.
Explain, right.
So she, in that sense, that's transparency. To right wrongs, you need to be transparent, first of all.
Okay. And then to right wrongs, that obviously, in that particular example you'd given with Oprah and the author that she brought on the show, it showed loyalty, not only to, herself, but to her viewers.
Yes, that's right.
How does that play into the 13 behaviors in building trust?
This is be loyal. Always to be loyal to others. It means especially to the absent, we don't talk bad about others. We don't backbite. And especially if the person's not there, it says whatever we say about someone else, we should be able to say it in front of that person.
Okay.
And this is why she called him.
Right.
She called him, and in front of him said it. It would be disloyal if she were to criticize him and he's not there.
Right.
Right? Yes. And so, for instance, and how this plays out in the business world, if we see someone doing something that's not right. We have two choices. We tell the person as gently as possible, with respect, to tell him, that this thing that you're doing is not right. Or the other way is you tell it, but to the person who is responsible for this, who can correct the situation. Right. So maybe you say it to the manager of this person, but you don't broadcast.
Right.
You don't tell. You know what so-and-so did,
right.
That would be disloyal.
Now, the next cluster within the 13 behaviors focuses on competencies, and that's taking us from the 6th behavior down to the 10th. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, one of them is clarify expectations, deliver results, continuous improvement, get better, continue, practice accountability. And, that has to do with competencies, meaning, we said that to have trust, you've got to have character, but also